Today, we begin with a story that blurs the lines between faith, superstition, and evil. A tale of a man who wore the robes of a Buddhist monk but hid a ruthless killer beneath. Imagine a man entrusted with spiritual leadership, yet secretly using black magic and murder to satisfy dark desires. This was Boonpeng, known as Iron Chest Boonpeng, Thailand's first serial killer. In the bustling streets of early 20th century Bangkok, beneath the tranquil surface of temples and monks, lurked a sinister figure who shattered faith and trust. His deeds would leave stains on history, echoing through time as a cautionary legend of power corrupted by darkness. Stay with us as we unravel the life of Boonpeng, from his humble beginnings through his mystic arts, deadly crimes, and ultimate downfall. His story is not just one of murder. It is a window into a world where the sacred and profane collide, and where evil can wear the most unsuspecting of masks. Welcome back to Heinous Crime Files, your ultimate destination for chilling true crime stories from history's darkest shadows. Each week, we delve deep into the lives of criminals whose actions have shocked, mystified, and haunted societies for generations. If you're passionate about true crime with rich historical context, make sure to subscribe and click the bell icon right now, because you won't want to miss a single story. Now, let's step into the shadowy tale of Boonpeng. Boonpeng was born in 1890 in the quiet district of the Yuthan, a place cradled by the mighty Mekong River in what is today Nakhon Phanom Province, Thailand. His roots were a delicate blend of heritage. His father was Chinese, his mother Lao, two cultures intertwining in a region steeped in tradition and deep beliefs. When Boonpeng was just 5 years old, fate took a sharp turn. For reasons lost to history, he was sent away from his birthplace to Bangkok, to a small neighborhood called Bang Khun Phrom. There, he was taken in and raised by an elderly couple, Suk and Pien, who treated him as their own grandson. His new home was modest, a world of narrow lanes and bustling markets beside slow-moving canals. Young Boonpeng was unlike other boys in his foster family. While Suk and Pien worked tirelessly in their vegetable gardens, they hoped Boonpeng would lend a hand. But the boy was disinterested in labor. Instead of playing outdoors or joining his grandparents in daily chores, he preferred solitude and quiet study. Books, monks, and mysteries fascinated him more than muddy fields and sweat. Beyond his scholarly inclinations, Boonpeng had an uncommon charm. By the time he was a teenager, those around him noticed his striking good looks, the smoothness of his speech, and an almost hypnotic charisma. Local girls and women were drawn to him, captivated by his presence like moths to a flame. Yet behind the handsome smile hid a boy who was disobedient and, strangely, lazy. But Boonpeng's curiosity took a dark turn. Near his home stood the ruins of an old temple, Wat Phai Ka, where an undertaker named Grandpa Play practiced the secrets of Thai black magic. Boonpeng, hungry for power and knowledge, was drawn into the mysteries of the occult. Under Grandpa Play's tutelage, he learned about incantations, love potions, and spells that promised control over others' hearts and minds. This was a dangerous world. The magic Boonpeng learned was whispered about with fear and suspicion by ordinary people. It was believed to cast curses, influence fate, and intertwine with the spirit world in ways that few dared to explore. His foster grandparents, upon discovering his new fascination, were deeply troubled. They were devout and feared that their grandson was dabbling in evil arts that could bring ruin. Unable to accept this shadow growing in their home, they asked Boonpeng to leave. At the age of 20, Boonpeng found himself alone in Bangkok's busy Bang Lampha district, a place both vibrant and unforgiving. It was here that his journey shifted once more, this time into the sacred robes of the monkhood. He was ordained at Wat Thuarat Kanchorn, an ancient temple rising next to the Chao Phraya River, promising a chance at rebirth and respect in society. Yet, even within the holiest of walls, the charm and the magic followed him. His reputation grew quickly, not for pious acts, but for the strange mix of spiritual rites and dark occult practices he wielded. Wealthy women, entranced by the promise of love spells and forbidden powers, sought him out under the cover of night. Whispers spread about Boonpeng's unorthodox rituals, sometimes involving intimacy, acts strictly forbidden to any monk. Despite his outward appearance of devotion, Boonpeng's life was already being shaped by shadows. His time at Wat Thurat came to a violent end when the abbot discovered his secret transgressions and banished him from the temple. But exile couldn't douse the darkness inside him. Instead, Boonpeng found opportunity and even greater temptation. A few kilometers south at Wat Suthet, a grand and powerful temple. Its abbot, wary of scandal, initially resisted Boonpeng's advances, but persuasion and Boonpeng's promises of reform eventually broke down his defenses. Given a second chance, Boonpeng wasted no time returning to his old ways, only deeper this time, running illicit gambling dens, drawing in admirers, and practicing ever more potent black magic, his reputation blossoming underground. At this point, the seed of violence had already found root in Boonpeng's soul. His confidence in his own cunning, his ability to charm, deceive, and command, and his growing taste for power laid the foundation for the tragedies to come. Behind the temple's ornate doors, the monk who had once been a bored and lazy boy from the provinces was becoming something else entirely. A dark legend in the making, soon to be remembered not for salvation, but for death. Boonpeng's descent into darkness was no longer hidden behind whispers and rumors. It spilled into the streets of Bangkok in the most horrific ways imaginable. The man who wore the sacred robes of a monk had become a predator whose violence stained the very ground beneath the temples he once called home. One of Boonpeng's earliest confirmed victims was Nai Lierm, a wealthy jewelry merchant with whom Boonpeng had a bitter dispute. The exact nature of their conflict remains murky, but whatever it was, it ended in bloodshed. Boonpeng lured Nai Lierm to his chambers, where he struck with lethal force. The man's lifeless body showed clear signs of brutal assault, broken bones, strangulation marks. But Boonpeng's depravity did not end with murder. He meticulously dismembered the body, placing the remains into a heavy iron chest, the same type typically used to store valuables by the wealthy, a symbol of cloaked deception. The iron chest was not just a container. It was a coffin, a prison of silence. Boonpeng, with chilling pragmatism, sealed the chest tight, filled it with heavy bricks to weigh it down, and arranged for its disposal. But how does a single man carry such a burden through the bustling streets of early 20th century Bangkok? He relied on trusted acolytes and hired hands, two young disciples named Charan and Cherowan, who shared a chilling devotion to their master. On a dark night, these disciples rented a rat jek, a traditional three-wheeled rickshaw, through the narrow sois and over bridges, carrying the iron chest through crowded neighborhoods to the banks of canals and rivers. After a journey of nearly 20 kilometers through the alleys and waterways where shadows hid secrets, they dumped the weighted chest into the Klong Bangkok Noi, where the murky waters swallowed the gruesome cargo whole. But Nai Lierm was not the last to succumb to Boonpeng's cold brutality. Another victim, known best as Nong Prick, was a young woman of about 20 years old who initially came to Boonpeng seeking help, a love potion to win back her husband's affection. What followed was a betrayal of trust, so dark it haunts Thai folklore to this day. Instead of a magical remedy, she fell into an illicit affair with Boonpeng himself. When her pregnancy made demands that Boonpeng could not, or would not, meet, having already arranged to marry another woman, his solution was murder. In his room at Wat Suthet, Boonpeng violently hit Nong Prick, strangling her into silence. Her body was wrapped in a mosquito net, an ordinary household item turned nightmare shroud, before being shoved into another iron chest. The weight of bricks was added once again to ensure she would be lost beneath the waters. Charan and Cherowan returned to their grim task, hauling the iron chest through the city streets by Rat Jek once more. This time, the final destination was the Chao Phraya River near Nonthaburi province, the slow-moving currents a final accomplice to concealment. The chest was discovered by fishermen who initially hoped it contained treasure, a valuable prize typical of wealthy owners. Instead, the horror revealed itself. A woman's decomposed body, unable to speak for herself. The shock rippled through Bangkok. Police posters called for assistance. The case seemed unsolvable until Nong Prik's mother came forward, recognizing the terrible truth. She told police that her daughter had disappeared after receiving a letter to meet a man who had borrowed a gold necklace, Boonpeng. Her tip turned suspicion into focused investigation. Without immediate proof, the police appealed to the public. A breakthrough came when Charan, the rickshaw driver, confessed he had been hired to dispose of the chest. This testimony enabled the authorities to close in, arresting Boonpeng at his wedding ceremony. In custody, Boonpeng admitted to killing both Nai Liam and Nong Prik and suspected of up to 5 more victims. Often, these were women who had fallen under his dark influence, betrayed and buried in similar iron chests, hidden beneath Bangkok's waterways. The rickshaw, the humble Rat Jek, became a dark symbol of Boonpeng's reign, a silent witness to the transport of concealed horror, carrying the dead through the city's veins by night while pretending to offer innocent passage. His confessions revealed a mind as cold as Bangkok's canal waters, a man who methodically separated his victims' bodies into iron chests, ensuring their silence beneath the surface. Boonpeng's story horrified the public, disgusted by how a figure of spiritual authority could commit atrocities hidden in plain sight. The trial that followed was swift and uncompromising. The evidence was overwhelming, and the public outrage became a deafening chorus demanding justice. Boonpeng was found guilty of murder and sentenced to death. His execution, by beheading in 1919, marked the final chapter of a dark tale and signified the end of an era. He was the last person in Thailand to face this form of capital punishment. Yet even then, Boonpeng's legend persisted. A shrine was erected near his burial site at Wat Phai Sai, where locals began to venerate his spirit. To some, he became a protective figure, a haunting paradox transforming evil into guardian spirit, symbolizing the complex interplay of fear, respect, and superstition in Thai culture. Boonpeng's arrest and punishment not only brought closure to his horrific crimes, but also unearthed uncomfortable questions about faith, power, and human nature. Questions that still echo faintly through Bangkok's bustling streets today. The execution changed more than Boonpeng's fate. It marked the end of barbaric execution practices in Thailand. Beheading was soon replaced by the firing squad, a modernization of justice that reflected a shifting nation. Boonpeng's story, from his troubled origins to his horrific crimes and eventual fall, remains a stark reminder of the thin line between sanctity and sin, faith and fanaticism, and the haunting cost when that line is crossed. Boonpeng's story is a haunting reminder of how darkness can disguise itself behind the most sacred robes, how power and superstition can corrupt even the deepest faith. His crimes still echo through the canals of Bangkok, a chilling chapter in Thailand's history that refuses to be forgotten. But now I want to hear from you. What do you think drove Boonpeng to become such a twisted figure? A troubled childhood, the lure of black magic, or something more sinister in his nature? Could his story be a warning about blind faith? Or is there a deeper lesson in his downfall? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Tell me whose story you want me to cover next. A true crime case that fascinates or unsettles you. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss an episode of Heinous Crime Files. Your engagement and support keep these stories alive and help us explore the dark, mysterious corners of history together. Thank you for watching and being part of this journey. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.